Viewers, what a travesty, what a tragedy it is turning out to be, and it's unfortunate that the world's attention is not on it. Hostages, more than 200 plus hostages are untraced. But on all minds, the talk is about what is happening in Gaza. Vigils for Palestine are taking place across the globe, in most colleges around the world. But viewers, as the world equates Israel shockingly to the Hamas, they have forgotten that Hamas was the instigator. They have forgotten that Hamas walked all over the human rights of hundreds and hundreds of Israelis. Some of them are dead. And as I said, over 200 of them are hostages, and they're not just all Israeli citizens. What happens? Why are we seeing this disproportionate attention to the Gazans and the Palestinian cause? Are Israeli lives dispensable? No vigils for hostages, viewers. What's happening? Let's go across to His Excellency Eliav Belotsercovsky, who joins me. He is the Israeli ambassador to South Africa. Your Excellency, thank you very much for speaking to me this evening. I want to ask you a direct question. There are protests breaking out all over the place, saying that Israel is the occupier, it is the villain of the peace. How do you respond to these protests?
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to address your viewers. I would like to say that what we have here is not a political issue. It's a classic moral dilemma. We had an attack, brutal, murderous attack on civilians, on families, on old people. Babies were killed. It was unbelievable atrocity that was documented by the terrorists themselves. And I don't see any way anyone could not condemn such a terrible, terrible savagery. It's just unbelievable. And we had, as you mentioned, we have 1,400 people dead, families, whole families that were wiped out, children murdered in front of their parents, young people tortured, young women. But it was unbelievable cruelty, yes. Really medieval savagery. And we are now in Israel. We are now in the process of burying the killed. There is a lot of sorrow. The country is in mourning, and we have also the issue of the 200 hostages that were taken outside. And I don't see that there is, although we do have a lot of support from Western countries, from liberal democracies, from the US, from Europe. We have visits with solidarity, we have visits of support. But on the other hand, there is such a hatred towards Israel.
So let me ask you.
In so many places. Let me ask you. People don't have their moral values.
Well, they say that, look, and this is what I am picking up from the statements. These Palestinians and Arab nations say that the Israeli military is habituated to committing atrocities on Palestinians in Gaza. That's why they hate you.
Yeah, but let's see the situation as it is. If the Hamas would not perpetrate this heinous attack, if the Hamas would not continue firing rockets on Israel, and as we speak, there are hundreds of rockets on a daily basis that are fired on Israeli civilians. The only way to stop this suffering of the people of Gaza is for the Hamas to stop firing rockets, to release the hostages, to punish the perpetrators of these attacks.
So, Ambassador, are you saying that if they release the hostages, and then you will stop the war?
If they want them to stop suffering, please, they know how to do it.
So are you saying that if they release the hostages, the war will end? That you'll call it all off?
Well, if we see that the people of Gaza have leaders that are ready to talk to Israel, that are ready to accept Israel's existence, because Hamas, in its charter, says very openly that Israel must be destroyed. Now, I can ask you, what if we would have, in the war of ISIS, calls for conversation from negotiations between the international coalition and ISIS? What if we would have calls for discussions between the US and Al Qaeda, or between the allies and the Nazis? Can you talk to them? Can you talk to people that entered, that brutally, savagely murder children, young people, Holocaust survivors? Can you talk
Okay,
to
but
such
what's
people?
the way out? Your Excellency, would you, for example, call off the hostilities if they were to repatriate the hostages? Quick question to you.
Well, I think the only solution for this situation is to dismantle the terrorist infrastructure of the Hamas. Hamas cannot govern Gaza. Hamas is currently a dictatorship. Let's remember that Hamas took over Gaza in 2007.
Yes.
And since then, Gaza did not have any elections. Whom does Hamas represent? Hamas
So
represents
you're making it very clear that that is the least of our expectations. Hamas must go, they must be dismantled, and therefore, even if it takes the next months, few months, a ground invasion which might even endanger the hostages, so be it. Well, Your Excellency, thank you very much for opening up on the plan ahead, the road ahead. We already know that the Defense Minister has sounded an alert for an impending ground invasion. I leave it at that.